Welcome to episode 4 of Dishing with the Pathways DTMs. My name is David Lintz, and I'm pleased to be your host for an interview with another Toastmaster in our district who has earned the Distinguished Toastmaster designation under the Pathways program. As many of you know, Audrey Chretien was our district director for the 2022-2023 Toastmasters year. Before that, she served as the TLI Super Dean Extraordinaire, the club growth director, and as an area director. This year, she is the district leadership conference chair. At the club level, she has served in every club officer role except for treasurer. And Audrey, I'm doing a session on treasurers if you're interested during this coming session of COTs. In her spare time, she has taught in many speechcraft and youth leadership programs and has brought Toastmasters to medium security prisons for more than a decade. Audrey, welcome.
Thank you.
Let me dive right into my questions. First, if you could just give us a brief description about what you did for your DTM project.
What I did for my DTM project is I wanted to do something that I've never done before and that I knew nothing about. I did a toy drive for the Hasbro Children's Hospital.
All right. So I know that this had a personal connection for you, that you felt a special affinity for the hospital. Can you tell us about that connection and how it motivated you to do all you could to make the toy drive a success?
Thank you. It's a parent's worst nightmare to get that call. And when you're a godmother and you get that call that your three-year-old goddaughter got hit by a car, thrown through the air, had to be airlifted to Hasbro Children's Hospital, and she was in very critical condition. They didn't think she would make the night. Rushed in my car, rushed down to Hasbro. My goddaughter was in the hospital for about a month. She is 7th grade now, and she is doing fantastic, thanks to the hospital. And I wanted to do something to give back to the hospital, or to give back to the children at that hospital.
Such a wonderful story. I'm sure you would have preferred that the story never had to take place in the first place, but to have something that potentially such a tragedy and to have such a positive outcome is just wonderful. So I'm trying to think what it means to execute a toy drive, and I can imagine it is not a one-person operation. It takes a team in order to do it, but not just any team. You have to assemble a team that's going to work well on this project. So my question is, how did you assemble this team with the sorts of people you needed to maximize the chances for success in this project?
That's a good question. First, I picked 2 members to be on my committee, but in actuality, it was a lot more than 2 members. We had issues, and I'll get to that a little later down the interview. But we did start with 2 people who believed in my mission and who embraced why I was doing this and wanted to help it be a success.
I think that's an important point. In addition to thinking about specific skills, it's so important to have a motivated team, and having people who really have a passion for making it work, I believe, is half the battle. So now you had described a little bit of this to me, and you told me about one of your challenges, which I think is as significant a challenge as you can possibly think of with a toy drive. You were having a problem getting toys, which kind of kills the drive if you don't figure that one out. So what did you do?
A toy drive. The first month, no toys, no toys. I didn't know what to do. Called my team together. We had a brainstorming session. We did more on social media, and we decided to talk it up. I started talking to my other Toastmasters friends in different clubs. And before I knew it, my Toastmasters friends were talking to their other Toastmasters friends from this club and from that club and from this club. And it ended up that some other clubs embraced this idea as well. And the toys started coming in, and they were coming in fast and furious. But it took us a little bit to get to that point. A lot of trial and error, but it worked. We finally got that sweet spot on how to get all the toys, and it just blew up.
I can imagine having that first part of the experience, not getting the toys. Certainly one interpretation is, well, nobody cares. This is a project that's not going to work out. Let's move on to the next one. So I suppose this is why the motivation and the passion for this project was so important, that I suppose at some point on any project you have to give up. But in this case, it certainly pushes the give up point a lot further down the path. And like a lot of things, if you keep plugging away at them, you get a success. So just a great story about perseverance.
Thank you.
You had mentioned that you were able to improve on your motivational skills in the course of this project. So maybe if you could tell me a little bit about how, in the course of refining these skills to motivate your team and to motivate community members to contribute toys, it helped you as a district director.
I found that if people embrace your vision, if people take your vision as theirs, it's not just my vision anymore, it's our vision. If we can empower people to take that and believe it and truly feel it and inspire it like I do, it just blew up. And when I was district leader, I tried to inspire people, challenge people. And as any leader, you are a little vulnerable, but let people see that and say, hey, I don't have all the answers. You don't have all the answers, but together we can make this district better. And I felt that was part of what helped me become a better leader and a better leader as the district, at the district level.
So I certainly saw that as a member of the district at the time. And I remember the theme, District 31 Rocks, when it first came out, kind of scratching my head about, what does it mean? What's this going to do for anyone? But it just had a way of kind of sticking with you. And somehow, whether you want it to be motivated or not, having the right phrase has a way of doing it. And in fact, I recently said to one of my sons, who's already over 30, you rock, in connection with something he did. And just this big smile on his face and just kind of the power of a phrase.
Yes, and that was totally by accident. I think when I was club growth director, I added that impromptu at the end of one of my speeches, and it stuck.
So when you ask people why they want to join Toastmasters, they often talk about wanting to improve their speaking skills. And of course, we all know that listening skills are equally important. And particularly when you're trying to solve a problem and you're brainstorming, it's good to be able to come up with some of the ideas, but it's also very important to be able to build on the ideas of others. And I know that brainstorming was an important part of this project. So can you give me a couple examples about how your brainstorming and I guess also listening skills improved over the course of you executing this project?
I learned we have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. To listen more and to talk less. And with this project, I started my active listening skills. And I started becoming better at it. When I'm talking to people, when we were talking it up and I'm talking to my friends, how can I get this project to go? What can I do? I'm stuck. I don't know what to do. I don't have any toys. And they were talking to me and I was actively listening to them and learning from them as well. I learned from everyone I talked to. I made everybody embrace this. And I felt at the end, it wasn't just my toy drive. It was a lot of people's toy drive from me talking it up, active listening, trying to motivate and engage, and being passionate of what this project meant to me. And by me talking to people, I think a lot of people were like, well, gee, if that was my goddaughter, what would I do and how would I feel? I felt I brought people together and I learned active listening does help. And that is one thing that I still try and be better at every single day, to talk less and to listen more.
I liked how you expanded this concept beyond just listening, but also kind of the concept of making everybody feel included, and how if you do that properly, not only do you need to listen more, they need to feel they're being heard, but also it's tremendously motivating that somebody's listening to you because they perceive value in what you have to say. And all the pieces kind of flow together in a bit of a virtuous cycle if you're doing it properly.
Yes.
One of the things we need to do for our DTM projects is to do a lessons learned session, what I refer to as a post-mortem, or I suppose that's the wrong phrase to use in this case.
Yes.
But something after the fact. How did we structure it this time? What went well? What didn't go well? How can we learn from it? Can you tell me a little bit about how you organized your lessons learned session and what value you derived from conducting it?
I learned a lot. First thing is I learned to always remember why I was doing this. When I got frustrated, when things weren't going well, learn to take a deep breath and remember why I was doing this. And also, in hindsight, it's not good to have a toy drive in December. I'm dealing with Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, all the other charities around.
Yep.
Next time, if you do a toy drive in the summertime, was not the best time frame if I had to do this over again. And also have more people involved and talk it up. When I started going to my other Toastmasters friends and they went to their clubs, that's when everything came to a head. And I felt I should have communicated more upfront than what I did. Lessons learned, when I do another toy drive, I'll know better. And it will be in the summer, not in the winter, not during Christmas.
So I've done a few projects that have required lessons learned session, both through Toastmasters and just in professional life. And one of the challenges I always find is to get people to speak candidly, because the easiest thing to say is, great job, Dave, we want to change a thing about it. But of course, you don't learn anything from that. It's important to get people into a position where they feel comfortable giving you candid feedback. I'm curious if you felt you had the same problem and what techniques you did to get people to really give you candid feedback that was usable.
I'm from a time that tell it to me like it is. Be totally transparent with me. I will be transparent with you. You be transparent with me. I tell the guys when I go into prison, when you evaluate a speech and you say it was good and you sit down, that does not help the person. It was good, but when you did this, if you did it like this, it would have been better. I encourage people, give it to me straight. I can take it. I'm not going to learn if you sugarcoat everything. And that's how I like to lead. And that's how I like to interact with people. Just be totally transparent. We're here to learn, and we're not going to learn if you say you did good.
Well said. Well, did you have any closing thoughts or words of advice for prospective DTMs that you'd like to share before we conclude?
Yes, I do. Embrace your Toastmasters journey. Don't rush through it. Embrace it. Take your time. Challenge yourself. Don't take the easy road out. Challenge. Pick something that you've never done before or you're unfamiliar with. But pick something that will inspire you, inspire others, and pick something that you are passionate about. Because if you're passionate about something, that will be enough to keep you going. And just embrace this journey. It's a fun journey. It can be trying at times, but take it and learn from it and go one day at a time, one step at a time, and you will get there and you will succeed. Thank you.
No, absolutely. And I think, as in many things of life, the feeling of accomplishment you have from doing something is much greater if you really challenge yourself as you were doing it. And although it doesn't feel like that sometimes when you're in the middle of something, you just have to trust that you'll have that at the end. Audrey, this was wonderful. Thank you so much for telling us about this very worthwhile DTM project, and of course for your impressive record of service to the district over the years. And thanks to all of you who are viewing this for your interest in dishing with Pathways DTMs. As Toastmasters, we all know how valuable candid and constructive feedback can be. If you have any feedback that you are willing to share with me, I look forward to receiving it. The best way to reach me is by email at the following address. Until the next episode, be well, keep striving to achieve your goals.